Welcome to IDA's video channel. In this video, I'll show you how to clean up overlapping labels. Let me go from top to the bottom. In the reference band, you may find that sometimes the labels do not fit in nicely. You can simply select the label and move it up or down accordingly. If it fits inside, you can do it like this. Otherwise, sometimes I do it like that. I can still read the values and it doesn't overlap with the structure names. Let's go to second band, which is a distance. And let's find out some overlapping labels. I scroll more to the right hand side, and here there's a structure label, and then there is a label at interval, because I display labels every 20 meters. And I can simply grab the grip point and move it. I will switch on the author regime, and since I'm using scale 1 in 500, I will type 2 on a keyboard, and it moves the label to the right hand side. It looks nice and clean. Let's explore this situation at J1. It looks very the same, but it's other way around. The first label is coming from the profile at the interval. The second label is at the structure position. And if I grab that label, I move it, nothing happens. If I click on a circular marker or grip point, it reverts back, but nothing changes. If I grip the mid point, it moves both. You can see the one on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side. That's not right. So how can I fix that? Unfortunately, there are only two options. I'll show you only one option at this point. The first option, which I'm going to show you, is that I'll create a new band for the start and end pipe label. So I will split them, and then I will be able to move the label, only one label, either start or end, with the midpoint grip point. The second option is to use pipe labels, but I'm not going to cover that. But if you want to explore that, it is a little bit better, because you can have a pipe label with various values, and if you move one, all of them will move. So let me show you the very first option. I'm going to Profile View, Properties. Then if I look at the bands, there is a band for distance at structure, and there is another band for distance at interval. The band distance at structure is a pipe data band. The other one with the capital letters is a profile data band. So the values are coming from the profile. Here the values are coming from the pipe network, but not from the structure. They actually come from the pipe, you will see. So I will go to this icon where I can copy current selection, because I want to make a copy, and I want the first one to display only value at start. So I will use a start, vertical line, profile 1, profile 2. Let me go to band details. As I mentioned, this is value at structure, but is actually pipe. I will explain later on why we use a pipe for the distance, because if I go to compose label for structure, there is no label. So that's why I need to go to pipe. And the reason why we're using pipe is because the structure can sit on two alignments. If you have multiple branches, then that structure can sit at the location where one branch diverts from the other branch, and that means the structure sits on two alignments. So in one profile view, the change would be incorrect, while pipe has only one reference alignment where it sits, and that's it. So it is always correct. Let me go to compose label for the pipe. And then I have two components, a change start, change end. This is for start, so I will delete change end. And I remain the start. I click OK, OK, and OK. And this style is used here. Now I need to create another one for the end. So I'm going to band type. I will select pipe data. Then I go to distance at structure. I will make a copy. I use a copy current selection. Then I go to information tab. I will call it end, and I use a vertical line. I delete copy. I go to band details, pipe, compose label. And then for the change at start, I can delete it because this is for the end. So let me do that. Change end. OK, OK. And now I add this band into the profile view. If I click OK now, you'll see that the band is right at the bottom and there is a gap at 12.5 between the bands. So I need to move it up, and it must overlap with the distance band. So let me do that. I'm going to Profile View Properties. Then I go to Pipe Data Band, the last one, and I use an arrow up to move it up. So I will do it very quickly. And it must go below start. So there's a start, end. But I don't want any gap. And I actually want those two bands to overlap. The band height, you can check it in a band style, is 20 millimeters. So I use minus 20 millimeters. The distance at interval has also minus 20 millimeters. So that means all three bands are overlapping or at the same elevation. For the distance at structure, tick on the labels. We want to display labels. And make sure the data source is correct. Let me click OK now. Seems like nothing changed. If I go back to distance, let me go to that J1 structure here. Let me zoom in closer. And now if I select the label for the structure, if I grab the grip point, either this one or that one, I will move the label. Keep in mind that there are two labels on top of each other. There is an end label for incoming pipe and start label for an outgoing pipe. So I need to move both. So I will grab, and if I grab it, so I'm moving the other one. So let me then grab this grip point and I will move it to like that. But there is another one, as you can see. I will select it again. And this is the new one. So let me grab it and I can move it by 2. So now they are overlapping, but they are the same. So this is how you can fix this band. Again, if you come in here, I'm not sure whether I should move this one or the other one. So I need to move this one. Let me move this on 2 units. Then I select the other one, and most probably it will be this 2 units like that. If for whatever reason those two values differ, then you need to adjust your pipe inverts. They're not probably matching, or you might have a different pipe sizes. That's also possible. And there's even option to delete. If you want to delete the label, you can just press Control, hold Control, select label, and you can press delete on a keyboard and it's gone. If you select the profile view, it does offer to reset all group labels. So it resets, it brings in the value, but of course you need to do everything again. But in case you want to reset it, you can. Let me go to other band. This is a ground level band, and that's a ground level at structure. So let's move more to the right hand side and let's try to move this label. It should be without any problems. I use 2, enter. If I use a scale 1 in 1000, I would use 4. And let's move this label. I move it by 2 units and all works great. Why? Because in this case, if I go to edit band style, this style uses structure label. If I go to compose label, there's a ground level at structure, and that's why it's working quite well. The pipe labels are problem. Let's go to next one, pipe invert levels. I will have the same issue here like I had for distance. Let me move more to the right hand side, and this label I can move easily because this is a profile label, but when it comes to J1, I will have a problem. Let me show you. I will have the same problem like I had before, you see, and if I move those two, they move together, and not only that, they add a leader and they change the style. And I will explain why is that happening. Let me actually fix that first. I will select this label and I go to edit band style because I want to remove this behavior. This is a pipe label, so I go to pipe, compose label, and then I go to drag state, and there's an option to display the leader if you drag the label, so you can set it to false. And then under the drag state components, you can either display drag stacked text or you can use an option as composed, and that's what I'm going to use. I click OK and OK. So I modified it, it moved down, but I can click on a circular marker to bring it back. So now when I move it, it moves together, but it doesn't change or it doesn't create stacked text. It is displayed as composed. And I can start creating 2 new profile view bands for the start invert and end invert. Let me do that now. I'm going to profile view properties. Then I go to pipe invert levels at structure. Again, I need to work with the pipe data, not with the profile data. This is a profile which is used for the levels at interval. This is the pipe data for levels at structure. Then I click on this icon and I will copy current selection. Under the information tab, I will add the text start. Then I will add a vertical line and I will delete copy. So this is for start. So I'm going to pipe label, compose label. I go to pipe invert level and I delete it. OK, 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 and it is applied here. And then I will make a copy. So I go to pipe data. This is called pipe invert add structure. So I go to pipe invert add structure water. I will make a copy. Then I go to information tab. I will add and. Then I will use a vertical line. I will delete copy. I go to band details. Then I select pipe, compose label, and I delete start. Let me do that. So only end remains. I click OK and OK. Then I click on add and it displays here. I need to move it up. Let me use the arrow up. So it will be below structure water start, structure water end. The gap should be -20. The labels must be displayed, start and end labels must be displayed, and the data source is bulk water. Let me click OK. And let's try whether we can move it properly. So I select the label, and then I'm not sure whether I should grab this grip point or that grip point. So let me use the other one. I will use a value 2. And again, I will select this label. I will grab this grip point and I will move it by 2 because there is a start and end label. Let's go to next band, which is a depth to invert. Actually, those 3, depth to invert, trench level and depth to trench, they won't give you that much hassles because if I go to profile view properties, those 3 are just the profile data. Sorry, I selected this one, but I meant this one. Those 3 are just profile data. So there are no overlappings with the structures or pipe data and profile data. So in this case, it will be easier to clean it up. I can go to this view. This is at HB3. Let me try to move this label by 2. Works well. Then let me come to this point. I will select the label. I will move it by 2. Works well. But it seems like there's something wrong. You must keep in mind that the profiles from pipes, they do have a 1 millimeter distance between PVIs at pipes. If I zoom at a pipe, let me do that, you will see that there is a 1 millimeter gap. So there's a minor discrepancy. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But most of the time, that discrepancy is less than a millimeter. But that's why you see 2 values. That's why you see 2 lines here, actually 1 millimeter apart. And this is an incoming pipe and outgoing pipe. So now what you can do with this label, you can move it by 2 and it should be fine. In some rare circumstances, what might happen that this value is different. Then you can just decide to delete it. I believe 1 millimeter discrepancy should be fine in the design. Then let's come to the next band and that should be very the same. Let me grab it, move it 2, and again, I will select it again, move it 2. That looks good. And finally, this one, 2. Let me try if I can just grab it like that, 2, and problem solved. I've got nice and clean labels. Since I created new profile view band set, I may consider to save it because it was quite a lot of work and I might want to use it for the plan production. In fact, this exercise should be covered more in a plan production. But before you start with a plan production, you need to have a proper band set which you want to use for plan production. And if you want to use this one, then you can use it. I'm actually thinking to create a new band set in our template, band set 3. But if you are working with an older template, then this is the exercise you need to do. And I'm going to profile view properties, and I will save this as a new band set. What should be the name? I can't remember what the other band set names are. So I will copy the name from the other band set. So that's why I'm going first to import band set, but I'm not going to import it. I'm just going to copy the name, and the name is levels as structure and interval band set 2 or 1, doesn't matter. I'm going to edit current selection. Then I copy it to clipboard. I use a Ctrl+C, or you can right-click copy. Then I cancel, because I don't want to import it. And I go to save band set, and I will paste it in. And I will call it band set 3. Okay. If I create a new band set, I should consider creating a new profile view style. In this case, the profile view style for band set 1 will work for band set 3 as well, but to be consistent, it is a good practice, just in case you display the description underneath the profile view. If you don't, then any band set will work for any profile view style. Let me copy current selection, and in this case, the band set 1 can be the same as band set 3, but again, for the consistency, I decided to do it like this. And if you create a new band set and all settings is done, you may also consider to export your band settings for future. So you can select your profile view, and then I have a new band setting, so I save it as a band settings, save, and I have it for my future work. Let me continue. And let's look at this band, which is called slope and length. There might be situations where it doesn't look nice, so you may consider moving it up and down. But as you can see, this is again with leader and stacked text. How can we turn it off? Right click, go to edit band style. Then this is a pipe label, so go to pipe, compose label. Go to drag state, and then turn off the leader and use as composed. Okay, okay. And if I drag it up or down, then it looks good. So in some cases, this might help a bit. But if it is too close, like in those situations, there is another workaround, which I will show in the next video, but I will come back to that. Then let's look at changes in directions here. There might be places where you may need to move it. Luckily, it is possible. You just need to select correct grip point, and you can just move it a bit like that if it is too close. Then for the fittings, there should be no problem. When it comes to hydraulics, this is also the same issue like with the slopes. You can move it up or down. Let me do that. Again, it adds leader and stack text. If you don't like it, you can go to edit band style, then go to pipe, compose label, drag state, leader visibility false, stack text as composed. Okay, okay. And now if I move it up or down, you can see that it does move, but it removes the vertical, or it doesn't remove it. Let me actually bring it back. It moves the vertical line with, let me turn off the snapping, so it can look like that. But probably that's not very practical, unless it's really very tight. I have no values for the hydraulics, so that's why everything is 0. That will come from the analysis. And when it comes to classification and geological data, I've shown another video how to remove them. So if you want to remove them, you can. If you want to keep them there, you can. You must fill those information manually, unfortunately. So this is how to clean up overlapping labels. But there is a place where I don't really have an option to clean it up because it's very dense. What can I do? I will show you in the next video how to mask this area and how to display different profile view with a different scale, because it simply doesn't fit in here. It doesn't matter what I do, this will always be overlapping. So let me finish here, and I will continue in the next video.